Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. So this is a heat map for one of my clients. The keyword here is Brooklyn house cleaning on 423 at just around 2:58 p.m. I ran the scan. You can see only a couple dots were green for them. They actually had 2.37% of the time they were on page one in a 2 mile radius, 13 by 13 grid. Today on 623 at 1:35 p.m. when I ran the scan, we are at 50%. Technically it's 49.7, but we'll just round up. A lot more green dots here. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what I've done, and I'm going to also share the heat map as well. So again, the keyword Brooklyn house cleaning. I ran the scan today. 2 mile radius. We've grown 14.2% of the time share of local voice. Again, that's the percentage of time we're on page one of Google via the map pack. That's what gets the most website clicks, phone calls, bookings, and even impressions and everything else that really matters for any local business. And this is my client. They're the blue line over here. So again, I ran the scan on 423. We were under 3% of the time. We were pretty much consistently that for over a month. I would say about 6 weeks. And that's actually pretty normal because a lot of times when we are flipping the map, we're only flipping dots from, let's say, dark red to orange or yellow. And that means we're still not on page one yet. I'm actually going to go to their heat map over here just to kind of explain. So I'm looking at 5. So this is May 21st now. I'm just going to keep cycling through. You're going to see how the dots are kind of flipping in different areas, from dark red. Now we got some yellows and some light greens, etc. Again, today is 623, so the scan's going to, here it is. This is the most up-to-date one. Now it's actually going to recycle back into the 423 mark, so you can really get an idea of how much this map has been changing for them. And this is actually quite valuable to see. So when I share this with my client, it's not just me saying, hey, I ran a keyword scan for your business for Brooklyn house cleaning. It's more about I can see it live via the test that I'm running. So I'll let you just kind of watch the end of this. Again, it's going to update with the latest scan, as you can see. Okay, great. So let's now go back into the report. What was done? So I mentioned this before, Local Falcon, that's the primary tool I use. I think it's actually more valuable than simply just relying on SEMrush or Google Search Console. If you're a local business, you have to understand the heat map. You can also run it for Apple Maps too. I will say Google is still the priority. So run it for Google, play around with your radius, get the baseline scan. That's really important. That's step one. Next, I talk about this in almost every one of my videos, and I think this is really important. Additional categories can hurt your Google business profile rank. The example that I always give is if you're a concrete contractor and you have a secondary category that says contractor, it will actually dilute away from the concrete contractor primary category. So same thing with them. When I look at the cleaning category, it's very important for us to have house cleaning as the primary category. But if we have things like, let's say, window cleaning or tile cleaning, that actually dilutes away. Unless you're really focused on that, if it's more of like a one-off that you can do, remove it, really focus on just your primary. Secondary categories can actually dilute. Top third. So I went through the Google business profile. I've been doing so much, but the main takeaways is I've created products for the first time for them. I rewrote all their services, got really specific into house cleaning, apartment cleaning, Airbnb cleaning, Verbo cleaning. And then I got specific into different areas within Brooklyn as well to create all these services. I used ChatGPT and Copilot to create all this. And then I even redid their service areas. So it's very easy to say, we service Brooklyn. I got very specific into Sheepshead Bay, Park Slope, and all these other areas too. I used ChatGPT to come up with basically how the scan looked in a 2 mile radius, all the towns and neighborhoods of Brooklyn to really focus on. That's what I wrote. My client gets reviews and they respond to them, which is great. I can't control that. That's one part that I always talk to my clients about. I cannot get you reviews. That's on you. But reviews do help with your rankings, but also help you more from a freshness factor, but also can help with closing potential new leads as well. All right, bottom left, trustindex.io. That's one of the primary tools I always recommend my clients getting. They purchase it. We embedded that onto their website. That's been helping with even schema markup, but also reinforcing all their great Google reviews directly on their website. Next, I've been writing all these landing pages on their site. So I've been using SEMrush to do comparative research. I've been finding topics that have gaps based off either competitors in Brooklyn or even just in general. I've been using ChatGPT and Copilot to draft and write the content. I throw it back into ClearScope. I have a video about that. And then after all that content is all set, I send it over to my client. They review it. And then if it looks good, their developer then adds it to the website and we move on. They also had a lot of broken pages on their website that I fixed, but I'm not going to include that in this. Next, I added website schema to the website. I know it says added website schema to the website. Schema is important. I think ChatGPT uses it. I know Bing definitely uses it because it comes up with their microdata view within Bing Webmaster Tools. So that's very important. And of course, there's so much more, but I'll go back to this part. This cycle through is really powerful. So when I'm talking with my client, I say, hey, I'm seeing the map change for you for Brooklyn house clean, but other keywords as well. It does line up with more leads for your business. It doesn't happen overnight, but if we can stay consistent with our rankings over time, again, going from 2% of the time to 50% in a 2 mile radius. And if we can hold that, we should be getting more leads, more phone calls, more website clicks, more bookings through the website and also through a third party provider, which would be net new leads for my client. And then I'll have another video about this later on, but how I keep expanding the mile radius, because that's also important as well, to go from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, all new ways to get new business. But anyway, I want to record this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, have a good rest of your day.